Let's move on to the second matchup, the second most intense matchup of Week 15, in my opinion. I feel it is the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. They both have a record of 6-7, and it's just the previous matchup I said with the Cardinals and Eagles. If the Cardinals somehow lose against the Eagles, then that opens the door for whoever wins this matchup because they're both tied, and then either of them will be seven. All of them will be 7-7. So one of them will. The positioning could change, but they all will be tied. So then the next week is very pivotal because if they lose, then the standings will change to get that final NFC wildcard spot. So I think that's enough motivation for both these teams because Chicago has been back and forth this season. Mitchell Trubisky has been getting a lot of criticism, just like Baker Mayfield, saying that he's not good enough. Chicago needs to reassess their quarterback position. He wasn't the right pick. They should have went for Mahomes or Watson in the draft. It doesn't make sense why they went for Trubisky. But he pretty much showed out in the last game, and he, in essence, proved the doubters wrong, but it's just a matter of how well he continues to play. He had the Bears won 36-7, and Trubisky had 267 passing yards, 3 touchdowns against the Texans. So he had a pretty good game. Obviously, in the second half, he didn't keep it up. It was mainly his 3 touchdowns were in the first half, but he kind of slowed down because the game was already out of reach. And obviously, the Texans didn't have a lot of fight in them because Deshaun Watson also got injured, which is very unfortunate because I like Deshaun Watson. And the Texans just completely fell off after trading DeAndre Hopkins. Having David Johnson is good for the running back position, but you need the wide receiver to help get spacing and go down the field, and it does seem like he has that. The only weapon he pretty much has is Will Fuller. And it's very unfortunate because I would like for Watson to ultimately get a Super Bowl, but it does not look likely. But Trubisky looked good. The Bears have been back and forth. They've had a good game, then a bad game, a good game, then a bad game. They've only been on a 2-game win streak once this season. It's pretty much been back and forth, and they've been experimenting with starting Trubisky, starting Nick Foles, and the team just hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. But now they're going to be facing the Minnesota Vikings, who also have their playoff hopes on the line. And the last time the Bears and Vikings played, the Bears lost, but also an important point is that Nick Foles was starting during that game. So it'd be interesting to see if Trubisky will be starting and if a different result will come about it. And now with the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, again, their game against the Buccaneers, they got held in check. The Bucs defense was all over the place. They forced 2 fumbles. Cousins recovered 1, but he turned over another, and he didn't have an interception, so that was good on his side. But the Vikings offense just couldn't get comfortable, and they lost 26-14. He was pressured by their defense, and Cousins just couldn't help this team. Obviously, Dalvin Cook had a decent game, rushing for 102 yards and 1 touchdown. But he has to play better. Their season is on the line. Cousins has to prove that he was worth the money, that he is the face of this franchise, and that he can lead them to the Super Bowl. And if they fall short or miss the playoffs, then it's just going to be another year, and they're going to have to reassess the quarterback position and say, he can't do it. We got to move to another direction because we have Dalvin Cook, we have Justin Jefferson, we have Adam Thielen, we have all these guys. This offense, this defense is pretty good, so we have to make this work. We can't just blow it up. We have to reload. And with all that in mind, this game is very important for both sides, and that's why I think it's going to be a 1-point game. It's going to be very back and forth. I think the Vikings are going to pull it out. I think it's going to be Minnesota 21, Chicago 20. I think Chicago is going to be in a position to win the game, but they're going to end up turning it over, or Trubisky's going to get sacked, and then the game's going to be over. That's my result for the second intense matchup.